Harry's Wife, Part 102.10, Snub versus No Trust. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Many of you will have directly been involved with a narcissist, commonly in a romantic entanglement, whether it was boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, partner of a narcissist, and you can speak from your extensive experience about how that has impacted upon you. Some of you have a narcissist in the family, and can speak from extensive experience also, particularly if that's one of your parents, and you experienced the full throttle behavior of the narcissist when you were a child. In other instances, the family member might be a sibling, might be an uncle or aunt or grandparent, and therefore the impact was less frequent, but nevertheless you can recall and perhaps continue to experience their behaviors towards you. In other instances, it comes from work, and social occasions, maybe a neighbour. But many of you can speak about how it impacts upon you as a consequence of the direct interaction that you have had with the narcissist. There is, of course, the collateral consequences of the narcissist's behaviour in terms of the damage that is done to relationships between other people in the fuel matrix. Commonly, for instance, this is where a narcissist has ensnared an intimate partner primary source and then ostracized him or her from friends and from family. Commonly, I am consulted by the parents of a son or daughter who has become ensnared, ended up having a child with, becoming married to a narcissist, and this person has effectively turned their back on their family, causes problems with their family, and they want to know what to do about it. Not only is the impact of the narcissist felt upon those they directly deal with, but it also has a collateral effect upon the other relationships. And this is very clear in the context of Harry's wife, in terms of the damage that she has done to the relationship between Prince William and Prince Harry. First of all, this has been demonstrated with regard to Prince Harry's behaviour towards his sibling, and this is reported in the Daily Mail, which reports on an extract from Valentine Lowe's forthcoming publication. The first intimation that Harry's wife might be a victim, as well as a possibly rather difficult employer and sister-in-law, came in an ITV documentary. Filmed in a garden in Johannesburg during the Sussex's 2019 tour of South Africa, she'd spoken to presenter Tom Bradby about how she'd struggled with life in the spotlight, pity play, both as a newlywed and as a new mother. He'd then asked her what the impact of all that pressure had been on her physical and mental health. Looking vulnerable, almost as though she was trying to hold back tears, actress coming to the fore, of course, Harry's wife said she'd found it hard, and added, "Thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay, but it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes." Pity play. A preview of Bradbury's documentary was screened for the media while William and Kate were on a tour of Pakistan that October. And inevitably, the resulting coverage, with its headlines of Harry's Wife, My Struggles, overshadowed coverage of the last day of the Cambridge's tour. Typical behaviour of Harry's wife, that where it involves the nemesis, she has to ensure that she does something which overshadows commentary about the then Cambridges. The article continues. William and Kate's team was not happy, it seems, and saw it as a deliberate attempt to knock the couple out of the headlines. Relations between the two households became quite tense. Again, a further impact of Harry's wife's behaviour. The documentary had also shown not only Harry's wife's evident pain, of course manufactured, but also how far Harry and William had drifted apart. Asked by Bradby about the rift between him and William, Harry had chosen not to deny it, but said instead, "We are certainly on different paths at the moment. As brothers, you have good days, you have bad days." William, home after the Pakistan tour, appears to have been taken aback at such a stark portrayal of his brother and sister-in-law's unhappiness. He realised they were in crisis. The day after the documentary aired, William WhatsApped his brother to ask if he could come and see him. This put Harry and Harry's wife into a spin. What should they do? This exhibits, of course, Prince William's emotional empathy for his brother, seeing that there's a problem he wants to help. Initially, Harry was in favour. Note, he has a good relationship still with his brother, not as good as it once was. Then he spoke to his brother again and asked him who he would tell. Notice, although, of course, the brothers have to operate within the parameters of other people knowing their diaries, ordinarily one suspects that Harry would have just said, sure, we'll sort this out, come on over, no problem. But this is where the paranoia of Harry's wife, and understand all narcissists have levels of paranoia because it helps drive them to pursue the prime aims. This has then infected Harry. Essentially, he will have said to Harry's wife, my brother wants to come over and talk to us. And immediately her paranoia goes, but who will he speak to? What's he up to? What's his end game? This could be a problem. Because although this is a benign act on William's part, he's concerned and he wants to help. Notice how her narcissism interprets this as a threat to control. And this is very important for you to understand this. Regularly people think that where they do things which they regard as kind, as benign, as helpful towards the narcissist, then surely the narcissist will go along with it. And they're left confused when the narcissist rejects it. The fact is, you will not necessarily know how the narcissist views what you're doing as benign or malign. Often, if you suggest it, that is seen as a threat to control simply because you suggested it. You also have to take into account that what you're doing is a wheel within a wheel. There are other people within the fuel matrix, and what they're doing and the interactions that they are having with the narcissist also impacts upon the way that you are viewed. That is why I regularly explain to people that it is a thankless and pointless task, a fool's errand, to keep interacting with a narcissist because of the vagaries of the interaction as I've just described. This is what William has found. A seemingly helpful act, can I come and see you and let's talk about things? Harry, of course, is receptive to it. But then when his wife hears about it, her narcissism perceives it as a threat to control, causing her to then infect Harry because of the level of control that she has over him. William explained in answer to the question that he'd have to clear his schedule, which would mean telling his private secretary. At that point, Harry told him, don't come. He was so concerned that William's team would leak the visit to the press, which is ironic given the behaviour of Harry's wife and Harry in terms of what they leaked to other people, that he would rather not see his brother than risk it getting into the papers. To everyone who knew what was going on, this was heartbreaking. And in effect, this was the snub that Harry issued towards his own brother, whom he'd always had a close relationship with. An offer made of a secret summit to heal the rift, but Harry rejects it. He doesn't do so out of hand. Initially, he's receptive to it. But the reason that he rejects it is as a consequence of the way that he has been affected by Harry's wife's behaviour in terms of controlling him and also causing him to look at his own brother, with whom he had such a solid relationship, with suspicion. Thus, that's one of the ways that the relationship has been damaged by the presence of the narcissist, that Harry snubs his own brother. A further problem that has arisen from the impact of Harry's wife is recorded by Cosmopolitan in an article by Kaylee Roberts. Prince William still doesn't trust Prince Harry or Harry's wife to be part of frank conversations. Sad news, royal reconciliation hopefuls, the article states, it looked like things are still fundamentally not okay between Prince Harry and Harry's wife, and Harry's older brother next in line for the throne, Prince William. According to a royal source who spoke to The Sun, Will, along with other royals, including King Charles, has been deeply hurt by the Sussexes' candid approach to sharing their story. This is Cosmopolitan, of course, so it's given a particular supine spin. Those of us who can see through it would say, quite simply, they have been deeply hurt by the lies that have been told, including anecdotes that feature other members of the firm, since their royal exit became permanent in spring of 2021. The lingering pain from the Sussexes' tell-all interviews has made it impossible for Will to fully welcome Harry and Harry's wife back into the royal family's innermost circle. After the Queen died, both brothers understood that they had to put personal feelings aside for the sake of their grandmother. A royal insider described as knowing both Harry and William explained. Both men have tried, but on William's side, he just does not trust his brother or sister-in-law. How can he have a frank conversation with Harry when he is worried one or the other will misinterpret what's said, take offence, and or talk about it publicly? Gut punch, right? But it doesn't stop there. The source went on to confirm that because of what had gone on, Harry was definitely iced out from a lot of important meetings, discussions, etc., directly following the Queen's death, something that hit hard for him. This inevitability means that Harry was shut out from much of the business of state with William and Charles in the days after the Queen's death. Their view is that Harry chose this path and so cannot be involved, the source added. From Harry's point of view, he still wants an admission from both the family and the men in grey suits, as he calls them, that he and his wife were wrong. He doesn't trust the institution and has repeatedly said he felt stifled and towards the end persecuted. He has really struggled these past few weeks and has felt he's done his duty to support his father. Yet the debacle over uniforms and reception invitations has really not helped and has just reinforced his sense of loss and inferiority. He felt as if he was being punished by the firm. Of course, notice that Harry doesn't understand that he wasn't being punished, but this is what had to be done because he's no longer a working royal. Or, even if he was being punished, he deserved it for his behaviour. But of course, he's infected with that victim mentality by Harry's wife, namely, we're never at fault, Harry. They're the ones that are persecuting us. Accordingly, since the spider came along, she has shattered the relationship which was once strong between Harry and William. She has caused it that Harry snubs his brother and that William doesn't trust his brother. With due cause, naturally, but nevertheless, this is all of a consequence of her behaviour. These are the additional costs of an ensnarement with a narcissist, that two people who hitherto had a good relationship find themselves snubbing one another, find themselves in a position of no trust, all because of the way that she has behaved, causing Harry to snub his brother and cause him to behave in a way that erodes the trust that once existed from William towards Harry. How might this change? So long as she is there, it will not. Harry, because essentially he fears having the application of those electric cattle prods to his pink pods, is always going to do what his wife wants him to do. There may be occasions of slight rebellion, of course, but they're not going to be sustained enough that will cause him to march over to Will and say, "You're absolutely right, she's all at fault, let's make up." The fact is, whilst he still remains in thrall to his wife, he is not going to behave in that way. Simply, it will only occur should he escape, which is unlikely, or that when he is disengaged from, which is more likely. And at that point, because he's not going to be subjected to her manipulations, and that he will be physically removed from her, there stands a better chance of healing the rift that exists between him and his brother. But so long as she is on the scene, so to speak, she will have to control Harry. And because he spends more time with her than he does with his brother, this means that any battle between William and Harry's wife is one that Harry's wife is going to succeed in relation to Harry himself. Of course, William, suitably advised, is distance himself from Harry's wife, but any opportunity that he might consider to rescue his brother has to be placed on ice until either disengagement or escape. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.